prize pool, and Tomatito's going to try to start it off with double VZ pick.
So we didn't really do predictions. I don't know if I could predict anything. I think these guys might start trading blows until it gets to 4. You know, these because so far they're playing tic-tac-toe, and it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's been back forth, and then I said that Tomatito's, when they've been winning some of the rounds, it's been really close. When they lose, they get blown out of the water. But that Himmelsdorf begs to differ. You know, they lost one really close, and then they won one a little bit more decisively. Still somewhat close, and Tomatito's going for the T100, and Burbology rounding out their picks with the Sturv. And double CS, actually. I don't feel like we always see double CS, especially on defense.
So they're probably gonna... Wasn't it them, though, that did like a December one-line IS-7 run and just like completely annihilated an enemy team on proc?
Yes.
So...
That was against Flare, and they used the CSs in the middle to get the eyes. One went towards kind of the 3-line bowl area. I don't know if he committed.
Did they win or lose that?
They won it. By a lot, I think.
Yeah, by a lot, right?
Or not by a lot, maybe. They got a lot of punch. They killed a Super Conqueror outright. They killed another gun outright. And the thing is, if they did something similar, the Sturv can, on their initial, just go to the middle. But knowing... And yeah, they're not going to do that initial this time. They're facing a different lineup. Tomatitos have a T100, for example. And also, Tomatitos have a generally a little bit faster line with double VZs. Granted, they do have one Super Conqueror, but... Look at that, double CS going to the other side. A6 will be the Sturv, and that's not a bad position for a Sturv because he can always relocate to the 1 line if they decide to do it later.
True.
But teams haven't really been pushing the 2 line all that often. We've only seen it sort of in the postseason. Major going straight on up. And it looks like, honestly, Tomatitos could just go up and over, but Burbology have a very big crossfire set up for him.
Look at all that bleed.
Sturv's going to take some more damage here. Yeah, and there's a shot there.
They're literally evening up. They're evening up the HP with a lighter lineup, which is not good.
See that big
some blind fires actually in the
tanks?
bushes. Like he's on our side.
That big clump of tanks strikes me as Tomatitos were like, we're going to play this flex. We're just all going to go middle. We're going to look for something to pick, and then we're going to go. But they couldn't find something to really pick. And so now it's just everyone's transitioning to the 2. And they took bleed for it because the CSs, they didn't go mid. They went to the hill, so... I mean, December took some damage.
True.
As did Octo, but yeah. Now they have to figure out with this 2-line push coming. OP is in the prime farming spot, but he is going to have trouble spotting it until it's very late because no one's really going to see it. And that's actually kind of problematic because there's a CS in the water right now while this push is happening. The Sturv will be able to farm if he's at A6 for a little while, but he's not up top yet. And now with that Super Conqueror in the bowl, that should be all you need to know. They are coming, and there they are. Serve and Luxon in the front.
Oh, and he looks like he's focusing Luxon first, the T100. They know if they take that out, like late game. I mean, late game, the light tank is really important.
Yeah, I completely agree. And he should just be doing as much damage as he can as safely
hello,
as he can.
Serve?
Yes.
Can you simp for light tank? Somebody? There we go.
Now he will. The CSs are still not in the fight. They start going north, and now they're going south.
Luxon!
And he is able to get the Luxon. Oh, no.
Imagine not knowing how to sit behind your IS-7.
Yeah, that is really a big misplay because that Super Conqueror paid for himself and then
all
some.
All he had to do was just shoot the soup and, stay behind the IS-7. And that's a really big misplay because it's the biggest misplay because he's their vision. And they have 2 CSs, and he kind of needed to be the vision for their single CS, right?
Yeah, he needed to be the vision, and even as a one-shot, his gun is still alive, and now it's just a gun that's not...
Also, he made it so that it wasn't even... He made it so OP wasn't even a pick, right?
Yeah, and it made it where, like, OP didn't have to... He was taking the damage from all of those guns regardless of whether he shot the T100 or not. It wasn't like he was being baited into some other guns. He just...
No, those 2 were the ones that were gonna kill him. So if I get Luxon like lighting him, And I get him taking a couple of those shots, but I mean, I would have just sat behind serve, like halfway through that. Just let the heavies do the killing, because you're really important for, you know, the rest of the match.
Committing over. Fluky's joining him, and they're going to try to pick December here and get safe from the Sturf. The Sturf is now taking fire from Hector and the others. December down to 1,300 health, 800. Surf shot not connecting there. Major poking up and over. Fluky's down to 2 HP, and he gets rammed by December.
And now he has a hold down. So now Serve is gonna get picked.
Oh no!
If only they had a light tank.
Sure, Smiley. Smiley makes the good point. But yeah, Tomatitos are just this is done. Good heads up play. I think that's the theme of this particular round. Burbology's individual play, OP's individual play. All those individual play.
Dude,
and
December has been cracked out of his mind. Like when he was bouncing all sheep shots and lived for that long on the 5 line on Himmels. Like Major Pain has also bounced a lot. Like when they were playing IS4s and stuff. It's just like
this isn't a strat thing or a calling thing. This is a like these players.
December even in the IS7, right? Wasn't it the first game in the IS7 or the second? You know, against Fluky, he lived a lot longer than he should have.
Yes, yeah. Like, those little things just give you your team more of a chance to win. And granted, Burbology were up a little bit after the T100 was dead, but they still, you know, it wasn't a guaranteed win. But these little things just go so far. And Kenway's
showing what 200 ping can do.
It turns out the Sturf, all these years later, still very accurate, very high penetration gun.
Now, Major Pain and Muscles coming in for the cleanup. One's the mop, the other is the soapy water.
Down goes Sebastian. Muscles has done 3,600, really? He just quietly, granted some of that was at the beginning too from the hill, but
he was just printing it like. Well, Hector in a little nice crossfire here.
Yup. So Tomatitos, that initial bleed, they got some damage on the I-7s, but they weren't able to pick anything. And then just the 2-line, I mean, that 2-line, I'll be real, their push, the initial, it could have been punished so much more, but Burbology were in transition.
And this might end up being a 4-2. Because statistically speaking, Tomatitos is like almost twice as likely to win on attack than defense. On proc.
Ooh, so now they're going to be going to defense. And yeah, post-game stats, Fluky, 3K there. Despite him going down to the I7 there, you saw that Luxon
oh my god, Luxon was poking, he didn't even pen the super conk. Oof.
Not good. Muscles,
you hate to see it.
Muscles and Kenway, pretty much the same damage.
Where was he? Was he just the...
He was the I7 and then went over to the 2-line later. So once they had dealt with the Super Conqueror, they just dumped on him. So yeah, it's yeah, the CS play too from Burbology, just not just Muscles, but Major as well. Them being able to get out as much damage as they did throughout. And look at OP. So OP's the first pick. This is what a Super Conqueror does in formats like this. 2,700 damage, and we saw the kill. So he's more than paid for himself in HP value.
Yeah,
as the guy.
Even though Sebastian took the ball, he did not get a lot of damage out.
Yeah, it just shows you like one tank there, a Super Conqueror. Even when it's getting isolated, it's still not a really. It's not a good trade overall if OP's able to get out that much punishment.
Dude, they're cracked out of their minds.
Yeah, like we said at the start, who's showing up to play? Now, granted, there's been a couple wobbly games for Burbology, but it's looking more and more as they're getting warmed up. Burbology are the team that showed up. Just Tito's have been having some general issues overall, but as it goes longer and longer, maybe Burbology gets more and more warmed up. So we've got one more round on proc here. After that, I believe it's Sand River. Yeah, it would be Sand River after this. So no matter what, we will be seeing Sand River. We are getting into the tank picks.
I don't know about you, but I don't think Tomatitos is really that good on Sand River.
I don't think so.
And I think I think when I think of Sand River teams and like the best ones, like I think Burbo might actually be second for that map behind Team
Burbo
Flare.
And Flare. kind of funny too as the season's gone on, and some teams like may have started off a little weaker on a map, and then it's like okay,
Right.
they got their rhythm. Yeah, I'm looking at the stats now. Yeah, and actually, Burbo's numbers on it aren't as good as I thought they'd be, but they're definitely better than Tomatitos. So tank picks
I think
are
statistically
done,
they're always going to be better than Tomatitos on like everything, though, right?
That's true.
Oh, okay.
That's true. Probably, yeah. Well, Tito's I think had sub 50% on Sand River.
Right.
Tito's need to win this round. Need to bring it back to a tie at 3-all. To do it, they're going to bring a CS, double Wheezy 5A, double VZ, and one IS7. Burbology bringing double IS7, double VZ, one CS, and one T100. So the double 5A shows its head again. Is this simplifying again from Tito's? That's a lot of tanks that can get to the middle early, look for punish, look for a brawl, high DPM, high alpha. .5A has some, it has some issues too. It's not the perfect tank. If you're not going to be making use of its raw speed for an initial, and yes, it does have a slightly higher heat pen shell than, say, a Super Conqueror's APCR. It's, I'd kind of rather be in a Super Conqueror if I'm just sent somewhere to sit.
Right.
Than in a 5A. And they are all stepping up in the middle, looking for shots, but Punish is going out onto Sheep first. He's taking a lot of damage. The VZ's on the K-line just stopping and aiming.
Dude, this is even in the beginning. I think wasn't Sheep? Didn't he get early bled as well in the first match on proc attack?
Maybe. And this is also they're kind of running what Burbology did the other day, sort of. They had the CS spotting and pushing the I7. The I7's pushed up, serves all the way up at G1 in a bush line.
Right.
So maybe that initial damage was okay as long as they're able to now trade it out because they have firm control and the T100 can't really disengage too easily. Missing the shot on the Octo, but he does have to be careful about getting lit. As long as the I7 isn't lit, he should be fine. Whew! I7 sniping, Smiley. You're never sure if it's gonna hit, are you?
True. An I7? Well,
yeah.
I don't know if you pray to Stalin. Easy. Stolen, guide my shell!
It's important to note that Burbology know the IS-7's over here at this point because Octo has to be telling them, hey, IS-7's hit me with an APCR.
And so once again, Burbo just showing how they can get early bleed, which is why statistically they're just super nutty on proc. I mean, they're getting bleed on. They got bleed on Fluky, they got bleed on Sheep, and the only person taking hits in return are Octo.
And they read what Tomatitos were going to do with the double 5A and double VZ too. They were like, the VZs, for example, for Burbology just stayed on the K line in the back spot. Like they were staring at middle. They're like, they're gonna have stuff poke up. Like let's just try to get the damage on it because they're gonna look for it. Octo now down to 665 HP. Gonna be pressing in on this weak side. Does a little stutter step going into the riverbed. Yeah, Fluky also down to 1K.
Yep.
And both teams just have this awkward split happening, but Burbology just in a more... I mean, a lot's on Octo not to die, but as long as he doesn't die senselessly or stupidly, I think they're just in a much stronger spot.
He's the caller. They never die stupidly or senselessly. They just make excuses and they'll go like, I was pinging the map, dude.
And Octo spots out the VZ, but gets spotted in return, so starts to back off. And now he's definitely 100% pinging the map right now, while the CSs are showing up Muscles and December in the IS-7.
They're able to get that much strength for free over here, so Fluky's just going to go bye-bye.
And meanwhile, E-Line, the 5As
he's not even looking! He's like, whoa!
And now Octo should be able to finish it, no problem.
And he turns around and... And then Sheep's gonna go down 2 free picks.
And the 5As are coming in on the E. They're gonna try to pick the VZ in return, but it's not gonna be enough. They're gonna be caught in a crossfire. Meanwhile, the IS-7s on the one line are gonna duel.
And now they're just gonna push in here and try to get a pick on Kenway. Kenway running though. You go, just because we're all from SA doesn't mean we can be friends.
Run, Kenway, they're not your friends!
Run, amigo, run! What's it? Is it, it's vamos instead of vamonos? You know what I mean? It's like vamos because it's Portuguese.
Vamos is Spanish, too.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
I thought vamonos is like the full Spanish word.
Oh, they're both.
And they're both like very similar, but they're actually said differently. You know what I mean? Vamos, and then
it's like let's
vamonos.
go versus
They could just tell them what did they say one time when I did a listening? They were like Davai, I think. They were speaking Russian to him. They were speaking Russian to somebody who speaks Portuguese, to a Brazilian. It was hilarious.
Oh gosh, the many languages of World of Tanks.
He did move up though, which is funny.
So you called it.
Yeah.
And Burbology did a very smart thing in their adjusting their initials based on the lineup. They read what Tomatitos were gonna do there, and if they didn't read it,
and
they just
I'm a big Toma fan,
initials,
so I'm really sad that it's a 4-2. Like I don't want it to go this way. I mean, yeah, a 4-2.
Oh no, but I mean, yeah, it was just.
But I just like that's just what I saw. I mean, only having like a 40-something% win rate on defense on proc. I mean, especially against a team like Burbology. I mean, unless they had a really good strat under their sleeve. I mean, as soon as they started taking the early bleeds, I felt like it was over.
Yes, and looking at the post-game stats, December, 4K, 2 kills. Muscles, 3,500, 2 kills. Wow. The Wheezy 5As, though, 2,400 and 2K each. But still, fluky the goose egg Hector with only 1 shot of damage.
Yeah, but
just
it
looked like
the
Tomatitos weren't
IS7s though. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Lux and Sebastian both did 2K, but Kenway and OP almost did 2K, and they're on the bottom of the.
Right.
You know.
And Burbology just looked more comfortable on it, and when you have so many people taking so much bleed on Tomatitos, it's because they're doing something they're not either used to or practiced or comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Or Burbology are also kind of pouncing on the little mistakes here and there. And
December has just been, dude. I think he only had like 1 bad game, and I think it was when Muscles got top damage, right? I mean, he's been. I mean, that man has literally just been just plowing fields. What'd you type into?
Oh, I was just typing in chat about the English rule. The only reason we do English in chat is specifically because mods don't know if someone's saying something inappropriate in another language. So that's just kind of the blanket rule. It's nothing against you. You are more than welcome to, just if you're speaking in another language.
German's 100% against you, but in the Smiley Rig chat, no, like...
It's mostly just to keep things, TOS. That's all. But yeah